So general form for a parabola is the same as the quadratic formula ax squared plus bx plus c. So to get our x vertex, we need to memorize this formula that says that the x vertex will be given by negative b over 2a. And again, the b and the a that we're talking about here are the same exact a and b as in the quadratic formula. So the b will be the coefficient on the x, and then the b will be the a will be the coefficient on the square. And then our y vertex, we find that just by plugging in whatever x vertex we have. So we plug in what we find in the x vertex, and that will give us our y vertex. So if you look at a question like number 3 here, you have f of x is equal to x squared minus 2. Now there's two ways of doing this. Because there is a missing x term, what you could do is you could rewrite this in standard form as x minus 0 squared minus 2. And that would be the same thing as x squared minus 2. So if you rewrote it in standard form, then what you would say is that your vertex here would be opposite sign, so 0, comma, negative 2. So that's one way of going through it, is a rewriting of it, getting standard form. With standard form, remember, you can just see it and know what the vertex is. Now, the other way of doing this is you could start with this general form, and you could say, okay, my a is equal to 1, my b is equal to 0, because I'm missing that x to the first power. So again, I could write this as x squared plus 0x minus 2, and then a would be 1, b would be 0. So using these formulas up above here, we would say that our x vertex is negative b over 2a. So that would be negative 0 over 2 times 1, which would give us 0. And then to find the y-coordinate, we would plug in this 0 into our function. So our y vertex would come from f of 0. So I would plug in the 0 squared minus 2, and that would give negative 2. So using our general formula for the parabola, we could come up to the same conclusion as standard form and say that our vertex is at 0, comma, negative 2. Now, this particular question you could do either way. But if you look at a question like number 4, that is in general form. And there really isn't a way to rewrite this unless you complete the square into standard form because you have that x. So for a question like number 4, what you would need to do is you would need to say, okay, my x vertex is going to be negative b over 2a. My b here is negative 10. So I'll have the negative, b is negative 10 over 2 times my a, which is negative 5. So we get a positive 10 over a negative 10, so we get negative 1. Now, once we get our x vertex, we then plug that in to get our y vertex. So we would take f of negative 1, and that would give us negative 5 times negative 1 squared minus 10 times negative 1 minus 7. And then computing through this, you will see that you have a negative 5 plus 10, so positive 5 minus 2, or minus 7 to give you negative 2. So that would tell us that our vertex for this parabola is negative 1, comma, negative 2. Now, I do think it's important to realize you can go through all of these questions on your graphing calculator. So what you could do is you could go over here, you could type in your y1, and you could type in your whole little parabola. So negative 5x squared minus 10x, and then minus 7. Okay? Then you hit graph. You make sure that you can see the vertex. If you can't see the vertex, then you might want to do a zoom in or zoom out. And to do that, you hit the zoom button, and there are the options of zooming in and out. Now, to get the actual point for the vertex, you want to go second and then calc. So second trace or second calc. And for this question, we saw that we actually had a max because our a value is negative. So because we have a max, we'll go to number 4, hit enter, and then we need to be to the left of the max value. Now, if you look